Alright, I'm going to go slow with this one because I'm sort of out of breath and this one's really gross. I had this terrifying nightmare last night that centered around the long-deceased actor Charles Laughton. Lately I can't get away from Charles Laughton. Everywhere I look, I see his big jiggly jowls and I hear his big loud booming voice. Last night, Abbott and Costello Meet Captain Kidd was on cable, so my brother and I watched that. And last week, a girl in my knitting class said her husband likes to quote Captain Bligh from the 1935 version of Mutiny on the Bounty, the one where Charles Laughton played the captain. And last night I dreamt that I wound up on Dr. Moreau's island. Dr. Moreau, of course, being played by Charles Laughton. I was on the beach. I was peeing on some of the flaming wreckage from my zeppelin, and here comes Charles Laughton, wearing a white suit, naturally, and he's carrying a coconut with a hole that's been drilled into it and a little straws jutting out of said hole. He's got a smug grin on his face, a jovial tone to his voice. He greets me. He gives me the coconut water. I take a few sips. Kind of, tastes good. I rotate the coconut in my hand, and I see on the side that was opposite me a little piece of tape, and on that piece of tape somebody had written with a permanent marker, "Date rape coconut." So I look at him like, what the hell? And he laughed and he said, "Oh, no need to thank me. The horse procedure is quite painful. This was the least I could do for the host subject." And by this point, the narcotic in the coconut cocktail, it was kicking in. So instead of gouging his eyeballs in like I was thinking about, I decided to question him. I asked him what this horse procedure was that he'd spoken of, and he said, "Well, my lad, we've been trying to come up with a way of crossbreeding horses with human beings. You see, if we can come up with a half-man, half-horse, it'll be sure to win the Triple Crown because it'll qualify for the running, but it won't be burdened by the weight of a human being on its back. We're being financed by Pete Rose, and at first we bothered with things like genetic engineering and death rays and all that, but now we're just going to simplify everything and let the horses have sex with a bunch of guys and see what happens. Yes, we believe horse mating is the key to achieving a steroidal centaur worth betting on." Now, needless to say, this kind of worried me. Don't get me wrong, horses they're beautiful animals. I used to draw them when I was a kid, but, they're also pretty big, and I'm pretty sure a guy can get killed if a big muscly racehorse rams its enormous genitals into his anal cavity. As a matter of fact, I know they can get killed. I haven't seen any pornos where that's happened, but the girls in my knitting class are always talking about ones they've seen. Anyways, I figure, what is Dr. Moreau thinking? Anyways, me carrying a centaur embryo in my rectum, that would be even less likely than me surviving this horse mating experiment to begin with. So, at this point, I was coming out of it. I was beginning to realize this whole scenario didn't add up, and it was most likely a dream. So I did try gouging Laughton's eyes in, but he instantly turned into this gross mound of blood pudding. And he said to me, it was like blood pudding just bubbling over his mouth. He said, "Before you go, tell the world that the cure for cancer lies in lightning bugs. If people extract the glowing substance from lightning bug butts and analyze it, they'll find it contains the cure for cancer. People must harvest lightning bugs as we do bees, but instead of honey, their butts will yield cancer juice." And then I woke up. I was, slumped over my steering wheel, and it was embarrassing because while I was dreaming, my zeppelin had landed on top of that big funny-looking bean in downtown Chicago, and it looked, the bean looked kind of like a scrotum, and my zeppelin looked like a, and people were taking pictures, and I was shooting at them. while our onboard blimp mascot, a horse of course, was having its way with me.